All right. Hey, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Sunday gathering for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut, Toki's Legacy. Um, Continuing to meet, guys, just to keep the Toki's Legacy going. And that just includes so many things. So today we're kind of going to focus on some action items that you guys can take. We're going to get in there and just say, what can you do today, right? Because somebody should be doing something every single day. We all should. But let's go around and just check in quickly with everyone, and then we'll get going. So, Ma, how are you?
All good here, thanks. Glad to be here. Very sunny, hot and steamy here in Florida.
Thanks for being here, Christina.
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to hear what other people have actions to help our cetaceans and hear about some good news too. And yeah, just happy to be here and share some great actions that everyone can take.
Awesome. Thank you. Marcia, how are you?
Well, probably as steamy as Ma is. We don't live that far away from each other, but everyday thunderstorm. So
Yeah,
doesn't help the steamy bit, but it does cool things down. But
yeah.
no, I'm really happy. We have a lot of cool stuff to share today, and also the actions that Christina mentioned is really something that we can all get behind, and it's easy to do. And I have some great information to share about dam removal that we don't hear much about. So I'm excited about sharing that.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Piggy Oki, thanks for being with us today. We love when you come hang out with us. Why don't we get started with you, Peggy? Tell us how you're doing, and then let's just get into it. You've got lots of
Okay,
action items all the time, and share with us what we could be doing, please.
great. Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm honored to be back on TokiTV, and so one of the things that I believe I shared it last year a bit about the Icelandic whaling, and I had started the Origami Whales Project in 2004, so 20 years of origami whales, and literally at least 50,000 origami whales since then. Later down the road, curtains and art installation pieces. And last year we started origami fin whale collection to make curtains of origami whales to send to Iceland. And ultimately I ended up, after Superpod, zipping back to California and going to Iceland with 2.5 curtains of origami whales. And all these whales were made by all sorts of people. And if you could show the first image, that would be great. I worked with art. Yeah, there we go. That's me with some students at a ocean conservation summer class, and just visited for a couple hours and talked to them about what was going on, talked about how cool whales are. Fin whales are the species that have been hunted in the Icelandic waters, and there's only one person who persists. And so I explained all that and said, hey, let's write letters to Svandís Svavarsdóttir, and she was the minister at that time who was in charge of the whaling permits. And she put a suspension on the whaling because it was found that these whales were not being killed humanely. And there's no humane way to kill a whale, so it's pretty much better to just not do it. And so it was really a great time starting with these students. And this is the beautiful whale that she folded and decorated, and the letter that she wrote. Her name's Audrey. And then that was our kickoff, and I collected some at Superpod. And by the time I went to Iceland, I had 2.5 curtains of 161 origami fin whales. And that's, yes. And that's, like I said, from people who just contributed, including somebody who I met at Superpod, his daughter. They're from the UK. And I wish I can't remember his name. I think his first name was Simon. Anyways, filmmaker. And he got his daughter to do this at her youth camp, and they sent me about 100. And so it was just wonderful from all over the world. I think we had at least 8 or 9 countries represented in these curtains of origami fin whales, and 161 represented the quota of whales that were for that year. But thankfully, the permit was suspended for a while. He was allowed to resume at the end of that period, but he managed to get, I think, 45 or 46 instead of 161. And the things are changing. To have his permit suspended last year was a great thing. When I went to Iceland and had that little exhibit there at the Whales of Iceland Museum, I also collected more messages on origami fin whales and finished a third curtain from the half one, and hand delivered a total of 3 curtains to different decision makers. One of them was to Svandís, who is the person who suspended the permit, and then another one was to the Minister of the Environment, and then the third was to a woman who was one of the parliamentary members of the Pirate Party. And I'm going to step back just a little bit here. The Mass Minister Svandís, the next day, I didn't get to meet with her when I delivered, but the next day on Instagram, she posted photos of her curtain in the office window.
Wow.
And then, I was like, yeah, that's it. Yep. And so it was like, wow, that's pretty cool that she posted on social media that, that she got this curtain. And then next shot, please. This was meeting with Haldora of the Pirate Party of the Parliament, and we had an excellent meeting. And when I asked her, how do we permanently end whaling, and I'd already been, asking and getting this pretty much the same answer, and she said that by making it a law that would ban whaling. And so I gave her that curtain. She seemed to really want that curtain. She was like, do we get to keep this? And so anyways, she then, we kept in touch a little bit. And the next month in September last year, the Pirate Party announced that they were going to introduce a law to ban whaling permanently in Iceland, currently moving through. And they've used that curtain a few times for photo ops and stuff. So it's like, yay. And so that's been one action to the next, like thanking Svandís and then urging different parliamentary members to consider passing that law. It's in committee right now. And the most recent news is that the woman who's taken over the job that Svandís had, her name's Bjarki, and she made it pretty tough for this guy to go out and whale. He claims that because she stalled for so long that he is not going to go out whaling this summer. So yes, and the quota was less, and the way it was divided up made things more difficult for him. So there's these steps moving in that direction, and that's how we get things accomplished, right? It's never like the snap of a finger like we wish. But we're making great progress, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the public becoming aware and taking real action in whatever way they can. And I really believe that real letters and messages are important, because we're in this world of the cybersphere, and when somebody sends you something that's for real, like it's pretty significant. So here's a whale that somebody made and wrote a message on, and then here's another one in the envelope. I was at an event last Saturday and had a table at the Ocean Conservation Tent, and this person, Alfredo, made a whale and a letter. And so I pre-printed the mailing address because it's so long. It's like, oh, we'll just make it a little easier for people. But the rest of the message is handwritten. And this is a really powerful thing. And when you get a piece of mail, if it's handwritten even versus typed out, like a form letter, you're gonna look at a handwritten letter. And that's why Christina also agreed, she's working on that. And we worked on art letters for Lolita a few years ago and such. So that it's a really powerful thing. Powerful action that everyone can take. If you can fold an origami whale or just even write a few sentences And yeah, and thanks, Annette, for showing that. This is a graph from a resource site talking about the power of influencing members of the Senate and Congress, and like, when you look at it, it's like, wow, way down here, form faxes, comments on social media sites, and then you go way up there and you see individual postal letters. That's big. That's like third place compared to actually meeting with your legislator in person. So that's how much more powerful it is. And so I also, of course, support the campaign and efforts to send real letters to breach the dams to save the southern resident orcas. So yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, we have so if anybody wants to participate, and I'd love to see that, we have information that's really easy on our webpage, and you can download an educator packet. There it is right there. You can download an educator packet, and it contains this information here, just, really simple, trying to explain. There's 2 recipients in this particular campaign. So if you send a letter to both, or an origami whale with the letter written on it, and make sure you sign your name and address on it, we make it very easy for you to specifically direct certain kinds of comments to the Minister of the Environment, and then to the Minister of Food and Fisheries, who does the permitting. So because they have specific roles, and we remind the Minister of the Environment how significant these fin whales, the second largest whale on the planet, they're so big that they even have found hybrid blue whale fin whale mixes. So yeah, they can hang out with the blues. and they are like big carbon sequestration machines.
Yeah.
And their role in the environment, we know about the nutrient cycle of animals eating one thing, and then how it just goes up the food chain and such. And then when they poop, whale poop is very important. It's the fertilizer of the sea going back in. So those are some of the comments that we include as suggestions to send to the Minister of the Environment, and basically talking about how they're climate legends. So let's save the climate legends. Let's save the southern resident orcas.
Totally.
Peggy. Hey, here's what's so cool. I love that you guys make this impact, and you're sending these letters, and you're doing all that, but you always highlight the kids. And so it's not like, I mean, it's great. You get a whole bunch of adults. Don't get me wrong, adults. Yes, please write letters, but you're educating youth through all of your actions, and that's really cool, because it's not just getting the attention, it's teaching this next generation that's going to be so important to carry on this work. And so I just want to point that out. Every time you're on here, you always highlight the kids, and I just think that is really, really cool. And just thank you for all the education you're out there doing. It's your life, it's what you do. Like, oh, I was here this weekend and I did this, and it's like what you do. It's just what you do all the time, and it's really important. So thank you, Peggy.
Well, thank you, Annette. And again, thanks to you and Christina for inviting me. And yeah, let's do it. It's so important to empower everybody, empowering all ages, and for decision makers to say, hey, wow, so this matters even to the children, the children, which are the future. And the children are concerned about their future. They want an ocean with fin whales, and they want an ocean with southern resident orcas in it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Peggy. Speaking of saving the southern residents, Christina, should we kick it over to you?
Yeah. I just want to say, Peggy, that what you're doing is awesome. It's like, it's so awesome. And yes, you're bringing the children into it, but you're also bringing the art into it, which, is so powerful in and of itself, right? Art, and look at these people who received these curtains. I mean, and they're just so beautiful. And you know, it's like, that's what you see. You're like, wow, look at all of these wells. I mean, look at we got to save them, you know, it's that powerful. It's like, so I really appreciate you, because I know that that's all you do. You're busy all the time. She's busy all the time doing something for the oceans or cetacean friends, whatever. She's always doing something. And I admire that, because we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we do. Well, thank you, Christina. I know that you work a lot too. You're very dedicated, and you're following that passion, and I really appreciate you as well. And that's what I tell everyone to do. Follow your passion, whatever that is, whatever you care about the most, that you become versed at. You can make a difference. You know, just there's so many different ways of making a difference. So, and art is one of them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get we'll get that banned, and it will be a law. Oh, it needs to be a worldwide law, but anyways. So.
Yeah, it does indeed. But at least this will be hopefully something for the world to see. Oh, Iceland banned whaling. Oh, Japan and Norway, they're still killing whales. Oh, and what about the Faroes? And so,
Exactly.
yeah,
I'm putting the websites up again just for folks looking for actions. It's not just one, there's a bunch. So go to www.cetaceans.org. And then, you know, there's plenty of pages there to different action items that you guys can participate in. So thanks again, Peggy, for making it easy for folks to find the actions to take as well. Sometimes it's like, okay, what do I do? And it's like, oh, you have to research on, it's all spelled out. It's all spelled out on that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay, yeah. So I don't have the best of news, unfortunately. So we're talking about the southern residents here in Washington, and according to the whale research, 15 whales are in poor condition, or they're rapidly declining body condition. 9 of them are from J-pod, 6 are from L-pod. And there were also 5 reported as vulnerable last summer. So that's really concerning. I mean, like that's a lot. As a matter of fact, it's the most that they've identified in the 17 years that they've been measuring their body condition from the aerial photographs. So that's like a lot of orcas there. I mean, considering we only have 74, I guess. I don't know. There was also some talk about mystery not being seen the last couple of times, but there hasn't been an official report out regarding that. I believe that there will be an official report from Center for Whale Research in October. So that's like really bad, and the reason why they are literally starving to death. They're starving to death because of the dams. I mean, not only the dams, but the dams are like what their Chinook salmon is 80% of their diet, and the dams have got to go. We have got to breach those dams. There's just nothing else we can do, because they're out of time. They're completely out of time. And if we don't breach the dams, then they're going to go extinct. And that's just that. There's nothing else. There's no other questions about it. The studies have been done. It's all about the dams. The dams need to be breached. So I'm not trying to like be all doom and gloom, because we still have time, but it needs to happen this year. It needs to happen this year. The 4 lower river snake dams need to be breached this year. So, you know, it's basically it's our best hope for their recovery, and we need to restore the river and the ecosystem. And we have a moral and ethical responsibility to act now. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to elaborate on what Peggy was talking about. What we need to do is we all need to sit down and write a letter. We need to write a letter, not an email, not a text, We need to literally sit down with our pen and our paper and write a letter, because when you write a letter, you know, they're going to notice it, as Peggy was talking about. You know, you open your envelope and you're like, wow, this is an actual letter that somebody wrote, because they are bombarded with emails, and you know, I mean, it just gets lost in the shuffle. It doesn't really count. I believe that one handwritten letter is worth 20 emails. So that's a lot. I mean, really, like, if you think about it, and it doesn't take you that long really to write a letter. I know we're all busy and everything, but we all love our orcas. We love our orcas and we want to save them. And this is what we can do. We're not helpless, but we all need to do it. Everyone needs to do it, and you need to get other people to do it. You need to have a letter writing party. Literally, like, and it's fun, you know, and you can educate people when you're doing that. You can have, you know, drinks or mocktails or whatever, you know, and just have a good time while you're saving the southern resident orcas. So the handwritten letter shows that you really, really care about what you're writing about. So that's what I have to say. And we have the address to President Biden. Just, you need to make sure that you tell him. I mean, I'm demanding, because I've been asking for too long. If you want to be, you know, asking, but I'm demanding that he breach the lower River Snake dams now, this year, not a year from now, not 10 years from now, but now. So that's what we can do. And it's actually a pretty simple thing, but we just have to have the mass of people doing it. So yeah, Peggy.
I would just like to share that on Saturday, I had an hour and a half with a couple of volunteers helping out, and we collected 23 messages, these personalized messages, in an hour and a half. That's not much time to just, like, all the viewers here, come on. We love the southern resident orcas. We want them saved. And just think of how, like, even just getting permission to table at some kind of local festival, especially if it's an environmental festival or farmers market, and just say, hey, can we do like an hour and a half or 2 hours of collecting signatures, well, getting people to handwrite letters. So yeah, I'd like to suggest that everybody just jump in and do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Anywhere you can do it. You can do it at craft places. You can do it at an event like these flotillas. You know what I mean? Like, there's, especially where you're going, where there's a lot of people who care about that.
Like-minded people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah. So please, everyone, write a letter. I'm begging you to write a handwritten letter to President Biden to breach the dams now. Breach now.
Yes.
Thanks, Christina.
Can do, isn't it? The least we can do, and the more we can do, the better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I'd like to add, if you don't mind, that Patagonia, their stores, I guess, you know, well, they have different events, and I've actually reached out to one of them, well, two of them, and I'm waiting to hear back about, during one of their events, tabling and collecting, doing the origami whales and letters, but also offering the southern resident orca letters too as an activity, because Patagonia, as we know, is really big about breaching dams. And so for people watching, all the audience here, to think about things like, oh, I have a Patagonia store half an hour drive away, or something, and let me call them and see if I can table, because they actively are asking people to, you know, inviting them to talk to them about tabling. So, and I've done it before with Patagonia events. So that's one.
Brilliant.
But
no, that's a great idea. That's awesome. I mean, I know I've been into Patagonia store and they had a stack of postcards in there to sign for the breaching of the dams. So
yeah,
Cool.
they're totally on board. Yep. So those are great ideas to get more letters, because we need more letters, lots of them.
Yep.
I'll leave that address up there for a little while. You guys saw the difference. You know, a lot of us text every day, and I think that that's important because 20 days is going to be as much as one letter. So if you are those that are texting and not writing the letters, just imagine if you wrote 20 letters as opposed to 20 texts. So make a difference. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Let's check in with Ma. Ma, what are you going to talk to us about today?
I wanted to talk to you about bycatch and trawling. Something that I think is really hidden away for people to, you know, find out themselves or not, as the case may be. But bottom trawling is a really destructive commercial fishing method that damages the ocean floor and marine life and water chemistry, which is often forgotten about. The bottom trawling destroys fragile seafloor habitats, including coral reefs, sponge communities, and sensitive marine life habitats. The huge heavy nets are dragged along the seafloor, dislodging and capturing anything living there. The dislodged sediment is just part of a massive issue, as resuspending bottom sediment changes water chemistry, including nutrient levels, and releasing pollutants and carbon that were trapped on the seafloor. So this is only part of the problem, as in 2023 alone, these huge, massive bottom trawlers caught, wait for it, 35,655 Chinook salmon, 122,279 chum salmon, 4.4 million pounds of halibut, 1.14 million crabs, individual crabs, 7.3 million pounds of herring, and 9 orcas, all bycatch. As of this year, January the 1st to the 22nd, 2024, in the Bering Sea and Gulf of Alaska, 15,403 Chinook salmon, 6,346 chum salmon, 2.6 million pounds of halibut, and 1.6 million pounds of herring, 588,875 individual crabs.
That is in 21 days.
No, that's from the 21st, sorry, it's from 1st of January to June 22nd this year.
Still,
Yes,
6 months is not
wild.
that long, you know. I mean, to catch that
Absolutely
many.
wild. Wow.
It just blows your mind to even think about those numbers. It's like, you know, as we've said before, it's rape and pillage of the ocean, and there's no better way to describe it. And in my opinion, it's no wonder that orcas are chasing boats and, you know, following these trawlers for food, because they're taking everything from their homes, their food, as well as their homes are being destroyed. So, you know, we really do need to do something, and need to do it quick. And if you visit salmonstate.org/bycatch, and please add your voices to the Representative Mary Peltola, and she has actually come up with a pair of bills responding to concern due to the impacts of federally managed industrial trawl fisheries. There's a petition on there that you can sign asking other senators, in particular Senators Lisa Murkowski and Dan Sullivan to support Mrs. Patola's bills. We have to do this and do anything else we can, along with everything that's important to us, because, you know, if this bill is passed, maybe it will just set the precedent needed for the rest to follow. And that's the way I look at it. You know, it's a start. So the more help we can give to Miss Pulowski and to this particular bill that she's trying to force through, the better it will be for everyone, including, you know, marine life. But it just blows my mind that those figures are just disgraceful, is the only words I can use. And I'm sorry to be a bummer, but it hits home so badly when the marine life that we love and care for are suffering so much.
Ma, I think okay, Marcia and Peggy both have something to say. Do you mind, Ma, one more time to read those numbers?
Of
And I
course
don't
not.
think it's about being a bummer. I think it's about being realistic about what's happening. This is bycatch.
Yeah.
So if
So
you don't mind
yeah, of course
those.
not. Just to sort of hit it home. So in 2023 alone, the trawlers caught 35,655 Chinook salmon, 122,279 chum salmon, 4.4 million pounds of halibuts, 1.14 million crabs, 7.3 million pounds of herring, and 9 orcas in 2023. From January the 1st to June 22nd, 2024, in the Bering Sea and Gulf of Alaska, 15,403 Chinook salmon, 6,346 chum salmon, 2.6 million pounds of halibuts, 1.6 million pounds of herring.
Peggy.
Well, Marcia, maybe she can. Does she have something to
Oh,
say?
I just had a brief comment that, you know, the word bycatch always reminds me of when, like, the military says collateral damage. You know, when they say collateral damage, and people need to really understand that this bycatch is literally thrown overboard as garbage. They toss it. And, you know, when we talk about these orcas that get trapped in these trawler nets, they're conditioned now. When they hear those generators crank up, they follow those boats. They don't even remember they lost their ability to hunt as usual because of this practice. And it's just absolutely the most criminal act, besides whaling, on the planet. And other countries have banned it. The UK has banned it. You know, there's other countries that stopped doing it. We have to follow suit, or that entire ecosystem is going to collapse if they continue to do this. So I just wanted to bring up that bycatch word basically means garbage, overboard. All of those animals you mentioned, Ma, and those huge numbers were thrown out like garbage.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so terrible.
That's, yeah, exactly right. It's just garbage to them. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Peggy.
Okay, thank you, Marcia, because that was what I wanted to be sure that people understood, and you explained it very well, that bycatch is basically non-target species. They're after a particular species. Even though they have these massive dragnets, they only want that one species, and everything that's not the species that they're after gets thrown overboard, like Marcia said. It's really, I mean, look at those numbers. And that's just in that area of the world. And one of the things that I've been shifting over to since a couple of years ago is focusing on raising awareness about bycatch entanglement, because entanglement is the other killer from the seafood fishing industry, which is discarded loose gear floating around in the ocean. And there's apparently a humpback whale that they're trying to rescue off of the coast of Southern California right now, entangled in, my friend didn't know whether it's lobster or crab pot material or something, and I told her, I go, that's really great because they've sighted the whale and there was a rescue team trying to cut the line free. But every year, from the combination of bycatch and entanglement, over 308,000 whales and dolphins die every year. So this is a devastating industry across the world. And I like to tell people to watch the documentary Seaspiracy.
Yeah.
So it's the word SEA and then spiracy as in conspiracy. So it's SEASPIRACY. And I really feel that anybody who cares about any living being in the ocean needs to see this film and take to heart what their dietary choices are. Because as long as there's demand, there's going to be this kind of thing going on out there. And it's like crazy. So I gave the numbers of the dolphins and whales, but when I was researching for an art installation that I coordinated in Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago with the Smithsonian, the numbers are staggering. Something like 250,000 sea turtles every year, despite what people are saying with these new TED, turtle exclusion devices on the trawler nets. There's something like 300,000 seabirds. So, seabirds like albatrosses and things, they want to come and get the fish, and they get close to the nets and they get sucked in. And something like 50 million sharks as bycatch entanglement. And I wasn't able to get a number worldwide on the seals and sea lions, but just in what they called Oceania. So I'm thinking sort of northern Pacific waters, 80,000 seals and sea lions, and so that's like a small representation of what the actual numbers are for those marine mammals. It's really devastating, and there's a lot of things involved that I could go on and on about. But if people watch the documentary Seaspiracy, you'll see that it's very far-reaching in a number of ways, and hopefully we'll choose to not support that industry.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep, the best way to protect the oceans is not to eat those living in it. And that's the bottom line, because like you said, if it's not in demand, then it's not happening.
Yeah.
No more McDonald's fish fillets or Burger King fish sandwiches and all of that. They're garbage anyway. Don't eat that stuff.
But the good news is that there's a website that has incredible resources, and it's called fishfeel.org.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, how I just spelled it out, FISHFEEL.org. And they have information about the what we've been talking about, as well as a page with all these resources of alternatives. So there's so many alternative plant-based seafoods, and you can get them even at local supermarkets. Like, we have the big supermarkets here, like Albertsons and stuff. You can go in and get Gardein brand, GARDEIN brand. They have the plant-based chicken wings and things, and they also have like fish fillets that are made from plant material.
And they're delicious, because that's all I eat.
and they're organic and non-GMO. So it's not like, oh, this is so unhealthy. No, it's actually just made from plants. I actually recently looked into the ingredients because people are like, oh, weird food. Some people have this reaction about faux meats and things. And I read the ingredients. I was like, geez, the only thing that somebody can't pronounce easily is methyl cellulose, which is just comes from plants, and it's a binding thing to help make the ingredients stick together.
Yeah.
That's all that is. So the solutions are out there, and we have that choice.
Yeah. We sure do.
I want to add, before we move on to Marcia, the site that you said, salmonstate.org/bycatch. There's so much information on here, you guys, like Ma talked about. You could do this, the petition or the the letter here and sign electronically. And then there's also, you know, you can get this sticker. This would raise a lot of awareness, and then there's a lot of information, so you can get yourself the talking points. We always say that, right? Like, how can you have this conversation if you don't have the talking points? But this absolutely has them on there for you to learn more, and it also gives you some links to some films on Bycatch, so you can share with other folks. This is a great website, you guys. So go check it out, Salmon State. I mean, the salmonstate.org is great, and then there's a whole section on bycatch. So thanks, Ma, for bringing this to our attention and for sharing some of the information on there. And guys, please go check that out. And then speaking of movies, Christina, is there one you want to add to what you were talking about before we move on?
I'm sorry, I just forgot to mention Damn Sense because I'm not on my A game today, but I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that, so they could go there and get that, because that's another place where you can have,
Loads of info.
And I just forgot. So sorry about that. But yeah, so go
good.
there too. Okay.
This is the link episode of TokiTV. But it's good though, because you guys rewatch this, write down the links when you're looking to take an action, or looking to share information to others so they can take action, because you already are. These are great websites and resources to check out. So thanks, Ma, Christina, Peggy, for all you've shared so far. And then Marcia, what do you want to share with us? Maybe a little bit of good news?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about that, there's been a lot of dams removed in the last few years, and we don't hear about it. It's a lot of times small, antiquated little dams, but I researched some data about some of these dams and where they're happening, where the dams are getting torn down. And I just thought, this might be inspirational, because it feels like just breaching these lower Snake River dams seems like we're trying to climb Mount Everest naked or something. Like, we're going to get there, but and these people did. So I'll just read what I have. So in 2023, just last year, 80 dams were removed across the country in 25 states. I didn't know about that, and to me, that's amazing. So the number of upstream river miles, these are in miles, reconnected just last year is 1,160 miles of river.
Wow.
And that is a lot, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead. Okay. So the top states are Pennsylvania. They removed 15 dams. Oregon did 9 dams, and Massachusetts removed 6 dams. The 25 states that removed dams just last year: Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So yay, you guys.
Brilliant.
Right? You're doing it. So the years with the highest dam removals were 2018, 110 dams were removed. 2019 was 106 dams removed, and 2017 with 101 dams removed. So no one can say there's not precedent, right? And I think the highlights from last year are the Copco #2 dam in the Klamath River in California, the Milltown Power Station in the St. Croix River in Maine, and the Oakland Dam in the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania. And there's also good data showing that the ecology is coming back in all of these dams where they removed them. All of them, 100%. And a lot of these dams were 100 and some odd years old. And so there's all these gross sediments and all this garbage that got stuck in there. And once those sediments flowed freely out, the river started to come back. So if you go and look on AmericanRivers.org, it's a great website. And they're kind of at the forefront of all of this. There's a place on that website where you can become a member of the American Rivers Dam Removal Community of Practice, kind of a long thing, but if not, you can just go to their website and sign up. And you get like updates and all these other things. So I went ahead, I did that. So the Lowhead Dam Inventory Task Force, in partnership with Southeast Atlantic Aquatic Resources Partnership, cataloged hundreds of thousands of dilapidated dams across the country, bringing the national total to, are you guys ready? It's a lot. The national total of dams that still need to get torn down is 531,000. It's like a crazy number, but we're getting there, right? We're chipping away. American Rivers is building a movement to remove 30,000 dams by 2050 and maybe even faster, along with communities, tribal nations, state and federal agencies, that they can ensure these rivers can continue to sustain life. So, you know, there's motion. And just like I think it was you, Peggy, that said, everything that happens in change is always these little incremental steps along the way, right? And that's what I'm seeing. So even though there's so much bad stuff, you know, the trawling and the dams, and oh my God, you know, it feels daunting. It's really important to keep in the front of our minds that there are things happening that most people are totally unaware of. I didn't even know about that until I did research for my book about these dams. So right then is when I jumped on AmericanRivers.org, and I give them, you know, I donate to them and stuff, and every little bit helps. So we're seeing this build up, this trend of like, let's rip down more dams, right? So I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, the era of dams is over. It's over. It is over. It really is. And yeah, that's why everyone needs to write letters to President Biden.
Yeah.
Yep, because we can do this. We can do this. Look at what's happening. Yeah, no one wants to see the southern resident orcas extinct, and no one wants to see the salmon extinct, you know? I mean, no one, I don't believe, wants that to happen. So there's a great picture. I love that picture because it says a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, it does. So thanks, Marcia. Thank you.
Yes,
because
thanks, Marcia.
that's good news.
Welcome.
Yeah, we like.
Thank you, Marcia.
Marcia, yeah. Brilliant news, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to have some good news, or, you know, come on.
So Christina, I wonder if you don't mind me asking, the that really cool image that we just saw. Yeah. Is there a way of putting together just like a 1, 2, 3 pack, like maybe a 2-3 page packet, the way I did the educator packet, which has the map with reasons why we need to breach the dams, and then perhaps a few sample comments, and then who to contact, like all in something that people can download as a PDF from like, you know, Toki's, you know, TokiTV or something like that.
Totally. Yeah, that's totally doable. I've got permission from Dam Sense to use that. It's their postcard.
Yeah.
And really anybody can write them and ask them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as you're using it for
but if it could be, thanks. If that could be consolidated into like just a packet of 2 or 3 pages that somebody can download as their you know, we called it collector's packets. Remember when we were doing the art letters for the labor thing? And that way people can easily download it and then call their local, you know, event organizer of whatever's going on, you know, the Patagonia stores or any kind of earth environmental type of event, and say, hey, can I have a table? Or farmer's market even. Yeah. And get a few things like that together and some paper and
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll work on that. Let's talk.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Always creating something, right? Always. It's good. That's good. I love it.
She's so organized. It's like,
I don't know about that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Marcia, for that great news. As we've seen in the Pacific Northwest, what's happening with the Elwha. One thing I wanted to share is we know how incredible these salmon and steelhead are. The tenacity, the will to live, the what they go through in their whole life cycle, how far they travel and they come back and they spawn and all, and how the southern resident orcas, what they have endured from the times of the captures to all the environmental impacts that we've placed on them, they're still with us. And for us people, us humans, to remember and be inspired by such a tenacity and will to live, that we can just do our little thing of getting letters collected to send and get these dams breached.
Absolutely, that's true. What we endure versus what these creatures have endured is minuscule. So we can do a little something.
Do this.
Yeah, we can. It's the least we can do. Yeah. Speak up for them.
Yep. And we will, and we are, and everyone else is doing it too. I can just feel it happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We just have to keep sharing. I couldn't get that picture loaded. I'm so sorry. The one that I was trying. We've had it at one point, but there's so many images out there, and I know some of it seems like doom and gloom, and but you know what? It's because that's the sign of what's going to happen if we don't do anything about it, right? But we could do something about it, and that's what we're all here for. So we just have to keep talking about it, keep spreading information, keep wearing your shirts in public places that spark conversation. I didn't show this earlier. I want to show this to you guys. If those of you watching on something other than your phone, or screenshot this and rescan that. This is a quick way to get to all of Peggy's action items. So that is super, super good. But I just appreciate you guys so much. Lot kind of going on. We're going to have some folks from Backbone here coming on in the next couple of weeks. We're also going to have folks from the Children of the Setting Sun coming on to talk about some of their film projects and dams, what they're doing with that. And we've got a lot leading up to our August 18th event in San Juan Island for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut for Toki, a gathering of hearts, a time for all of us to come together, those who can. Be there in person. It'll be wonderful. TokiTV will live stream from there because we know not everyone can just get over to the island, right? But it's a gathering of hearts. And as we know from Toki, it's not just who could be there in person. She has gathered so many hearts from all around the world. And so we will be streaming that. If there's just so you know, we have a backup plan to that too, just in case there's a service issue or whatever, we'll also be recording it. So if there's any live service issues, recording will be uploaded after the fact, just because Toki loved all of you. And so just thanks for she brought us all together for a reason. And I do believe that now it is to save her family. And so we'll keep doing that. But again, August 18th, guys, San Juan Island at the Lighthouse, 1 to 4 p.m. More details. There's an event page. So go to, Toki's Legacy, the group there on our page. There's the Facebook event page, that little QR code will take you there. Things are being uploaded as we create them, like the schedule for we're going to have a shuttle. And who may or may not be singing that day. Like there's gonna be some music and some food, and really looking at it as like a family reunion. That is where her family gathers, and so that's where we're gonna gather and live stream from. So, does anybody have any questions about that? Any of you on the screen? No. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be really, really good. But I love you guys. Any closing things, Peggy, that you would like to leave people with?
Oh, I think I've said it all. I can't help but reiterate how powerful a handwritten message, a personalized message, like even if you want to create some kind of art piece and then type a letter to go with it or something, that is so personalized when somebody opens that up. Yeah. And so yeah, let's do this. Let's write letters for the whaling and for the southern residents. They need us now. I mean, they're literally the second most endangered on the planet cetacean. you know, well, third, no, second. Yeah. Anyways, it's just, we can't let that happen. So let's keep active. I made those suggestions about tabling. Every one of us can just get, call a friend, hey, you want to table with me? And then
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
easier
because
said
a
than
lot
done.
of people are not aware of the situation. When I
Mhm.
do my tabling, I find so many
Oh
people
yeah.
that
Most
have
people are
no
not
idea.
aware.
No idea.
Yeah,
So,
most people are not aware.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, get a lick and stick, people. Get rising, get licking and sticking.
Lick and stick.
Yeah,
I love that. Lick
You
and
can
stick.
do it. Wear a pad.
That's great. All right, guys. Well, super love you, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Yeah. See
See
you
you
next
later.
week.
Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Hearts, we know what's true. Change comes from me and you. Together we will see this through. Come on, people.